G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for part number 2 of my dual-wielding pistol playthrough with the Warlord Genghis Khan. We haven't obviously got to the pistol section. We are currently leveling with Force Wave, but hopefully at the end of this episode we may begin farming for the pistols. We'll see how we go. With that said, let's jump right in, and last episode we got up to the Flooded Passage, so this episode, let's get to it. So fingers crossed, we will get to the end of Act 1 today and maybe start farming some pistols. They are right at the start of Act 7, but you can go straight into Act 7 from the end of Act 1. As soon as you kill the Warden, you do indeed have access to Forgotten Gods. Alright, so the Flooded Passage here, you could potentially find yourself a totem in here. At this point, you're probably fine to do it. It's up to you though. It's going to depend on how good your weapon is, more than anything else. And as long as you have a piece of some sort of armor in every slot, except obviously the metal and the relic, then you should be okay. I wanted to have a look at this, mostly for that health regeneration. I may end up swapping this ring in for the Slith Primal Ring when we get to Krieg. It's only a couple points less Aether resistance than this Velos ring, so we'll see how it goes. I am going to leave magic items on. I was considering turning them off, but we are going to need somewhere around 20 to 30,000 iron bits at the end of Act 1 for crafting components, and it's better to have too many iron bits than not enough. Alright, so I've just hit level 12, and something very important happens at level 12. Do you know what it is? I'll just give you a second. Can you pick what it is? Yeah, nothing. We get a little bit more damage, and that is actually quite good. Getting Rending Force, which is the node I just took there, getting that online does increase the damage quite a bit. You see I'm basically one-shotting these things now. And this is still on Veteran. So things are dying, which is what you love to see. Another Devotion Shrine here, which we have to fight for. No problem at all here. There we go. Did we get any good stuff? I see a rare chest piece there. Absolutely going to have a look at that. Decent but not amazing resistances. Stun resistance is quite nice, but this is less armor. And if we have a look at the Stonehide jacket here, that 4% increase to armor is applied to every single slot we have. So if we just have a look at, say, my helmet, 71 armor rating, I take this off, my helmet is now 68. So that 4% increased armor is quite good. Milton's Cask is also quite good, so I'm going to chuck that on. And I think these were fine. I'm just hanging onto those in case I want to use them for Warden Krieg. Okay, devotion-wise, that's the end of the lizard. Next one we're going to do is get the fox. I do want to get to, well, in a perfect world, I would take all of these, but then I would be missing one slot on the lizard, which is probably worth it. The other thing I could do instead is take the toad, because the lifesteal in the toad here is on the 3rd node and not on the 4th node. So I'll probably take that point out, actually, and start on the fox. Probably have to take 2 points out, actually. Alright, so Ancient Shambler here. Now I'm just going to hold down right-click, and he's going to die eventually, and I have enough regen that I should be able to not even use a potion. Potentially, I'll have to use a potion. I am going to be using energy potions, because we're kind of at that point. And as we're about to see, the Ancient Shambler is potentially the first or the second enemy in the game that uses Sunder, and it should be coming here any second. Sometimes it just lines up perfectly. Again, same as Veloth, he doesn't really have any follow-up damage to hurt you. And one thing I will say, well, 2 things actually I want to point out right here. First thing is, if you try to run away from him, he will throw rocks at you. He is a Shambler, and this is one of the more dangerous enemies in the game. The rocks that they throw do ridiculous amounts of damage, and potentially will just delete your entire health bar from full. Maybe they won't. Maybe you've got good physical resistance, which I don't, or maybe you've got really nice armor, which I don't, he's probably not going to delete you with one attack, but if you're already down quite low and he throws that rock at you, you're probably going to die. The other thing I wanted to point out is this amulet. He'll drop one of these every single time. And you'll notice the bottom 3 lines on this item is +3 to Force Wave, which is more damage. Minus 0.3 second skill recharge to Force Wave, which doesn't help us because we're already at 0 seconds anyway. And then 148 physical damage to Force Wave. So my Force Wave currently does 540 to 765. And we're just going to add a whole bunch to that. So it's like 40% increased damage. Now, I will say that it's added 3 to my Force Wave skill, which means my energy cost is now 13.7 instead of 11.6, which doesn't sound like a big increase, but that's going to add up. Also, didn't I already have one of these? I swear I had one of these. Might have been in the deleted run that we don't talk about. So yes, you're going to get some damage out of that amulet, and it is probably the best amulet in Act 1, unless you're playing... I think it's an occultist, has potentially +1 occultist amulet in Act 1, which is fair. Alright, Duncan here. Duncan is the blacksmith, or the blacksmith's apprentice, perhaps. I forget exactly what he is. I'm pretty sure he's the apprentice. And we've got to go find Angrim, who has the hammer. Apparently there's only one hammer, and a blacksmith can't just make another one. Maybe this one's a magical hammer. I forget exactly why he needs it. But we need to get that hammer. And ordinarily, I would say Duncan is the way to go. Actually, ordinarily, I would say it doesn't matter. Duncan has the slight advantage of, of completing his quest instead of Angrim's, or siding with him rather than Angrim, does give you more XP. And it also gives you the option to craft fire pistols, which is a little bit of a fallback if you can't get the physical ones. In normal difficulty, at least it's at first, probably up to level 40 or 50, damage is damage. And you're not going to miss out on too much by doing fire instead of physical. So you can use it as a fallback to craft Duncan's pistols. They're good from about level 15 until, I don't know, 25, 30-ish. And then there is another craftable fire pistol at level 37 if you go and vendor shop the blueprint, or you get lucky. So you could do fire, Righteous Fury, or Righteous Fervor rather, if we just bring it up here. It does physical and burn, and then I think it adds flat fire somewhere? Nope, adds internal trauma. Anyway, it does physical and burn. You can convert that physical to fire if you want, so this could be a fire pistol build. But obviously that's not the plan, but it would do in a pinch. Here's Angrim, and I am actually going to side with Duncan because you get more XP. I'm not planning on using the crafted pistols, but you never know. Alright, so I'm here for the hammer. Duncan needs it. It's time the hammer was passed on. Side with Duncan. Thank you. Duncan and I will do great things. Pretty unlikely, actually. It's mostly going to be me doing great things, and Duncan is going to craft, like, maybe 20 components for me. And that's kind of it. Anywho, Duncan successfully collected. We can go to Devil's Crossing and talk to him at the blacksmith. And we will be doing that at the end, probably, of the episode. You can do it from level 15 onwards if you wish. I'm going to cover it all in one go at the end rather than piecemealing it though, so I'm going to do it at the end of the episode. Alright, if your path is blocked here or here, it's one of them, and it's here. If you've got a pile of flaming tires or whatever is in the road there, there is another door into this cave a little further up the road there. But this is the preferred way. We definitely prefer to go in the back door. Phrasing, because then we can just grab this and be on our way. Now, I am feeling particularly strong at the moment, so what I'm going to do instead, and I am just going to grab the first couple of nodes in the fox here, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to murder these crystals, because as I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the first episode, There is no such thing as enough Aether crystals. So I want all of these. And I'm not even scared of this guy here. Asgalog the Corruptor. I'm going to kill his friends first, obviously. And actually, I'm allergic to eyeballs because, yeah, lightning resistance is actually pretty good for a change. Anyhow, resistant of soul warding is not horrible. Leather belt is going to have nice armor on it at this point in the game. But I'm here for the crystals. I don't really need to kill the rest of the zombies. But we're walking out of here with, where are they? 4? Only 4? I feel like there should have been more than that. Anyway, if you don't have decent damage, going over that left side of the cave can be a little rippy. It's maybe not the best idea in the world if you're, for example, trying to play as a Rifle Righteous Fervo Oathkeeper. Yeah, don't do that. Alright, regular Aether Warp Totem. If this was Forsaken, I probably wouldn't click on it. If it was Ancient, I definitely wouldn't click on it. Because it is this one, I'm going to click on it. We've got 3 zombies here. We've got 2 zombies here. This is the first time I'm going to do it, but you are going to see me turn the loot off a decent amount. So you can see it's on, it's off. This is just so I can see what's going on. And I am getting interrupted and impaired. That's because I'm standing in poison. Old mate here, Abner, or whatever his name is. Yeah, Abner, the Forsaken one. Just stay out of his poison, and you should be okay. There we go. Alright, what do we win? We got Alazra's Ruby, which is flat fire damage, which is actually not too bad. And we can convert some damage. Not really terribly interested in that. Let's just pick it all up. Madness, I see this all the time. It's not great. Eat the blueprint. Fun thing about blueprints, once you have learned them, they are very unlikely to drop. If you have already learned them, they re-roll. I think you get 10 re-rolls before it just doesn't drop you anything. It's something like that. But if you, for example, if both of these had dropped to the same blueprint, you can get duplicates because it dropped. You didn't pick it up and learn it yet, and then another one dropped. So you can get duplicates, but once you've learned it, you're good to go. So leather belt here has 16 armor, which is very nice. If this had probably anything above about 14 health regeneration, I would immediately equip it. In terms of pants, these are better. These ones are probably better. Let's have a look at my health here. 1487. Okay, so it's about another 100 health. 10 cunning versus 4% cunning, probably about the same. Spirit, probably about the same. Yeah, I do like the percentage increase armor on this, and also the pierce and bleeding resistance will be very useful in early Act 2. But I think I'm going to go with the, ironically, the pet pants. Also checking for armor on chest pieces. Helmet, I pretty much don't need to look at. Gloves, I have casting speed and health on my gloves, so I'm pretty happy with those. Madness, obviously, is the Chaos Dagger, which I don't think I've ever used. And yeah, I think we're good there. Alright, so we'll go Physique first. Got 3 more points. Wouldn't you know it, we're getting even more damage. Because when you're ahead, get more ahead. And if you know where that particular line came from, then you probably had no social life about 10 years ago. And if you don't, well, that's probably for the best. Alright, you may find a totem just here. Mine's obviously not there. Unfortunate. I think that one shares a spawn with the one in the cave. Okay, so this is Steven Seagal. I know he's calling himself Ulgrim, but he is the cook who's actually a badass. So let's tell him about the prison and stuff him into a rift gate. Of course, we missed the blitz. I really enjoy seeing things go ragdolling across the screen like that. It's even better when they just die in one hit. One of the great things about Force Wave Soldier is pretty much everything you do ragdolls the enemies. Kill them with Force Wave, they die, and they get flung across the screen. Blitz into them, they might die, but they're getting flung across the screen anyway. It's a lot of fun. Alright, level 14. I just spent my level 13 stuff. Let's go in here. We'll kill off these fire chuckers. Fire chuckers? Yeah, alright, that's what we're going with. They're fire chuckers. 3 more into Rending Force. I'm going to max this out because obviously more damage. And then we can start looking at some of the passives, maybe a point in military conditioning, but otherwise I'm just going to start pushing the bar up. I could take something in Oathkeeper, but honestly there's nothing early that I'm interested in, so probably not going to do that. Right, that's all spent. I think I had a devotion point as well. Nope, already spent that. Cool, we're up to date. Any boots? No. Okay, this Riftgate, this is another fight. When you get near it, it's going to spawn enemies, and then you will have to fight said enemies. Which I am going to do. I'm just going to clear the area first. And potentially, well, you're going to get 3 waves. And you're going to get anywhere from 1 to 3 heroes on the final wave. Now, every time I've said this lately, it's given me 1. So, we've got 2 this time. If you're playing on normal, you get between, I think, 0 and 1, but definitely no more than 1. Whereas, if you're playing on veteran, it's 1 to 3. So, nice to see the poopy pants here. One of the game's meme items. I will pick it up, actually. So this actually gives you an activation or an activatable skill there, Throw Feces, which is exactly what it sounds like. You throw a little green grenade at the enemies. It does a ton of acid and poison damage. I don't know why acid and poison. I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah, you can actually make a build around those pants if you have them. And it's... I don't know if it's hilarious or just gross. Maybe it's both. I was going to say it's a pretty crap build, but it does the job. Alright, let's vendor all this stuff. I'm not going to use my magic items. I'm just here for the bits. Most blue items, I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but just in case I didn't, blue items are generally a trap. So if you look at this, you've got the dagger itself does physical damage. Then you're adding a little bit of chaos damage. And that's kind of it for this. +2 to Blood of Krieg. Okay. It's not an amazing weapon. The helmet here, this one has no resistances at all. It has borderline bad armor. Required level 14, only 78 armor. You get a few percentage points of physical and bleeding damage, but 15% of, what are we doing, like 600? Whatever it ends up being. It's actually not a lot in terms of percentages, especially since it's additive. So this physical damage modifier, I'm already at 53%. So adding 15 on top of that will take me to 68%, assuming I can do maths while I'm recording. It's not a big increase. Actually, I don't need to guess. Let's just have a look. 1347 to 1771. It's like 40 to 40 extra damage. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's definitely not worth 23% Aether resistance, which is the damage the boss is going to do, and 10% extra damage to like half of Act 1 enemies. It's not great. And it's the same with most blue items. There are some that are really good, but these blue pants have around the same armor as those rare pet pants, and none of the bonuses are really relevant to me. And there's only 1 resistance on it, and it's Vitality, which there's practically no Vitality damage in Act 1. He says after just having fought a boss that does Vitality damage, but shh, there's no Vitality damage. Alright, I am going to check for health regeneration. That's only 5 points. We do have medals now. And this is probably the best you're going to get. 10% physique, 22 health regen. The 25 is definitely better. 6% defensive ability is basically useless. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to put that there. And that's going to get me a bunch of extra health. And my regeneration's up to 137. If you've got this above 150, you are borderline at the point where you can stand in the Act boss's face and laugh at his damage. Just do absolutely nothing and he literally can't kill you. If you get this to 200, which I'm going to show you how to do that, but if you get this to 200 a second, you can literally stand in the Act boss's face, laugh at every single attack he does. You'll still take damage, but you will regenerate so much that he actually cannot kill you. This is going to help. We're going to put this on the rings. and actually on, excuse me, and actually on the metal as well. I will be checking for belts as well. Ideally, I want a leather belt, but I also want to keep in mind the bits as well, so maybe I'll leave that. Okay, let's head back out here. I've got a couple more quests to pick up. Now, the Cultist Orders quest is interesting. So as soon as I pick that up, I'm going to get a quest. And that's why I haven't picked it up, because I'm actually not going to do this quest this time. So if you pick it up, you get to talk to Dureni. And actually, I will pick it up, because there's another outcome of the quest. Option A is you read this, and it's basically saying that the newest agent of the Cultist is Dureni, who has sabotaged DC's water pump. So that was the thing we fixed at the end of last episode. Basically, Dureni is a traitor, or a spy, or whatever you want to call him. And you have two options. You can either just kill him, which gets you a Blood of Chthon, which is a somewhat rare crafting component. Or you can listen to his story and just kind of be like, you know, get out of here and give me that key. And then you get the key that opens the door to the cultist lair, which I absolutely do not recommend going into at this point. You can. You might be fine. But the rewards are very minor and very unlikely to be useful. The only guaranteed reward you get from there is the monster infrequent from the boss of the area, and that's a pet dagger. So we're not interested in that so much. Can you stop with the lightning, please? So yeah, you can do that. But the outcome I'm more interested in is whether I have him in Act 2 to fight or not. Now, if you kill him in Act 1, he won't be available in Act 2, and you can just walk through the door that he's normally guarding. And if you don't kill him here, then he betrays you again, surprise, and you get to kill him in Act 2. So I'm gonna kill him in Act 2. He does have some okay loot. Not amazing, but okay. And I want to get my hands on it, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, while I've been waffling, I've been collecting these fabrics. I've got 2 of them, which means my last one is up here in this building. They do have somewhat set spawn locations, so this is my 3rd one. And by somewhat set, what I mean is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or so spawning spots where they can be. They're always in weathered chests, but not all weathered chests have them. And the weathered chests are always in 3 of the 7 or whatever it is potential locations. So once you know where all of the locations are, you just walk to each of them, check it, and hey presto, there's all your fabric. Alright, let's see if we're taking the scenic route. It does look like we are. So if this wasn't here and on fire, I could walk through here, grab my shrine, go down the cellar door here, and rescue the apprentice. Unfortunately, I got the second of 3 potential spawns, because if this was instead over here, I would have to go over here through the trapdoor. In fact, let's go through the trapdoor anyway. Let's do it. Why not? There's maybe some nice stuff down the trapdoor. Who knows? Spoiler alert, there was no nice stuff down the trapdoor. So if you can't just walk straight through, then you'll need to come through the trapdoor. Bonus, you do get some hidden loot that is hidden in the walls. Shield is no good. Helmet is also probably no good. But hey, more iron bits, right? That's what we're here for. All about that iron bits. Alright, level 15. Now at level 15, you get access to a whole bunch of components. And we have a blacksmith already, so I could go and do all the crafting now. I'm not going to do that though. I will do it at the end of the episode, like I mentioned. But if you wanted to do it all now, I'm pretty sure scaled hides, silk swatches, antivenom salves, ward stones, I'm pretty sure all of that stuff is level 15. So if you want to jump to the end and just see what I made and just go ahead and do that, then it can't hurt. In fact, it will just be a nice power boost. Although a defensive power boost. But may be something you want to do. Like I said, though, I'm going to do it at the end. Got some rare boots there. Any of you got some run speed? No. +2 to fighting form. A little bit of extra armor. Fighting form is actually useless. It's the second part of cadence. Okay, I'm not giving up run speed for that, so RIP boots, I guess. Alright, and then this is where we're going to come out. It's going to be on the north side of town, but we can run straight down here. Now, you can just go straight into Warden Krieg's house, which is, if I can, there we go, Residences of Warden Krieg. You can go in there and start Warden Krieg, but there's some stuff over here that I want to get my hands on, including an NPC. Actually, let's get the NPC first. I'll come back for that devotion shrine. So you can actually get a treasure trove right here, and I don't know what the trigger is for whether it can spawn. It actually can't spawn at this level, or at least not yet. And even if it did, I don't have any dynamite, so I can't open it. But there is a trigger that lets a treasure trove potentially spawn there, and I don't know what it is. So I'm curious, if anyone knows what that trigger is, maybe it's like level 20, or maybe it's you have to have stepped foot into Act 2, or something like that. So if you know what it is, let me know, because, you know, I like to learn stuff too. Like the day before yesterday, I learned that Oathkeeper is rubbish to start with. Alright, new chest maybe? Same armor, 2 different resistances, freeze... No, that's fine. Alright, we'll take a point in the Fox. We have one more devotion point, but before we get to that, let's go back to town. Because we have Dalit over here. Dalit is the apprentice we just rescued, so you're welcome and thanks. Now what we can do is we can go to salvage, and be careful which button you push here. The polished emeralds are effectively worthless. This ring is very, very good, and you only get one, and you can't get another one on this character. So we want to keep the item. Yes, I'm sure. Same deal with this one. We want to keep the item. This ring is nowhere near as valuable, but it's still decent. Alright, corpse dust on both of those. If you don't have corpse dust, don't melt your emeralds. But if you do have corpse dust, my health regeneration is now at 200. There is very little in Act 1 that can kill you through 200 a second health regeneration. In theory, if you get enough stuff attacking you, in theory it could happen. In practice, very unlikely. So that's what I've got. I mean, I've got regeneration here, regen on one ring, and I think that's it. That might be it. Do I have any regen on anything else? That's energy regen, so no regen there. Nope. Yeah, that's it. So I've got 3 items. I do have 1 point here. This is a little bit of extra regeneration, but it's not huge. +6 flat, and then another 5%. The big one is this. So between those 3 items and the lizard, I'm not invincible, but, you know, it's going to be very hard to kill me. Okay, Doreni here. Alright, I found a note, mentions you by names. If you pick this top one, you fight him now, you either kill him or die, and that's kind of the end of everything. If you go explain yourself, you can agree. You can say, we have a deal. He will give you a strange key and some directions. Law note. No XP this time, though. Yeah, it might be the only law note where you don't get XP. This is Duncan. This is our blacksmith, so we can look at things like scaled hides, one in the chest, one in the pants. We can look at if we just do SIL. Silk swatches here require resilient plating, so SIL in resilient. We can make looks like 2 of those. So 1 in the shoulders. I probably wouldn't do this yet, but you can. And then wardstones is the other one that's good. It's good to get these. 1 in the amulet, 1 in the metal. I'm using corpse dust in the metal, but these are going to give you elemental and bleeding resistance, as well as some movement speed. like I said, I'm going to leave that for now. We do need to talk to Steven Seagal here, and we can check out his stories later on. Okay, Constance here does want the fabric, so I already have the fabric. Is this enough? Wouldn't you know it, it is. And she will give you this chest piece. Now, this is not amazing for level 20, but it is good enough. So hang on to this. When you get to level 20, just check it. If you already have better, then sell it. And if you don't, then, you know, it's better than whatever is not better than it. I don't really know how to say that properly. Okay, devotion-wise, I don't need that blue one anymore. The tier 1, or the close devotions to the crossroads, all the ones that have a requirement of one, so 1 blue, or 1 purple, or 1 red, all of those are considered tier 1 devotions, and all of them provide you the one that you need for completing it. So in the case of the lizard, we have to have 1 in blue to start it, but once we're completed, it gives us 4 blue, and we can reclaim this one. So it supports itself. And what that means is I can put that in the fox here and get some bleeding damage. I will be able to get the the third node in the fox in Act 1. I will not, however, be able to get the 4th one, which is, well, it's unfortunate. Also, just in case you haven't noticed it, there is a search bar up here, and you can search for things like health regeneration. So this one here has some health regeneration in it. Also, the Harvestman's Scythe has some nice regen stuff. So does the Behemoth, and Ghoul is also pretty good. The other ones are alright. Like this is 20% increased health regeneration. Can be good. Anywho, why do I not have Blitz here anymore? That's why. By default, Y is the hotkey to swap between your 2 bars. Okay, let's get back to it. So, I have spent my devotion points as well as I can. There's 1 more shrine, which means we're not going to be able to complete this. Even though technically 3 plus 4 is 7, and there are 7 available in Act 1, you do need the 8th one in order to do it, which means we're not going to get to finish the fox, but that's fine. Long term, we actually don't want the fox, so it's just a temporary thing to get some lifesteal. But we don't really need the lifesteal because, well, we just regenerate heaps. Like I mentioned, if you get enough stuff beating on you, you can still die, so don't get too overconfident. But the Act boss is going to be physically incapable of killing me, which is nice. Alright, I'm going to take these guys out. That's an Arbalist, which is a 2-handed crossbow, which I'm glad I'm not using. Also, if you break the... Let me spin the camera here. If you break the bookcases over here, you can sometimes get some free XP. Also, I'm using numpad 2 followed by numpad 3 in order to reset my camera to max zoom and north is up. So if that's how you prefer to play as well, I'm a little bit special in that as soon as you turn the camera a little bit like this, I'm lost. For whatever reason, I just can't do, you know, north is down or south is up. I just can't do it. So if that's something that's interesting to you, numpad 2 followed by numpad 3 will reset it to the default. Alright, so we're in the caves heading to Warden Krieg's actual house. There's level 16, which is good. Just going to keep fighting my way through here. Now there's a lot of... I don't really want to call them secret doors. But basically secret doors through here. And the one I kind of want is up here. Well, actually there's 2. So this one right here, there's a bunch of spiders in here, which could be dangerous. This poison on the ground is generally quite dangerous because the things that put it on the ground come in swarms, and you'll kill 20 of them in a small area, and you'll have 20 piles of it sitting in one spot. And then you stand in that one spot and you get nuked by 20 piles of acid all at the same time, because they do stack. All right, 3 points left. It's maybe worth putting points in Menhi as well. Actually, there's a comment about Menhi as well on the previous episode. I think it was, someone said, do you ever max this out? And the answer is no. Ideally, you never want to see this trigger at all. But if you put, say, 4 or 5 points into it, you're below 33% health, right, when it goes off. Having 31% health for 4 points will put you up around 50% health. It also gives you 100 a second in regeneration, multiplied by whatever devotions you have that give you a percentage increase, multiplied by whatever components you have. It's a decent bit of regeneration. But ideally, you never want to see this trigger. So 16 points just sitting there doing basically nothing if you've built the rest of your character correctly. This is not great. I'm going to just basically put 1 point in there because I am confident that I will never see this go off. Famous last words, I know. But I'm pretty sure I don't need it. If you're not so sure, I would say put it up to 5. And then as you get items that give you +2 soldier skills, make sure you're taking them out of there. You don't want more than about 5 points. It's not, in spite of what I said, it's not a waste, because all of the circuit breakers in this game, or yeah, just all of the circuit breakers are things you have in case it doesn't go how it's supposed to. So they're all worth whatever their cost is if it saves your character, but you never really want to see any of them, and we are going to have multiple other ones. Also, you can't use Menhi as well with pistols. You need a shield or a two-handed weapon. Alright, one more thing to mention in the Warden's cellar here is that there is an ancient Aether Warped totem in here. I highly recommend not messing with it. Now, you absolutely can, and if you're playing on softcore, give it a shot, get your ass kicked, and then come back and you'll kind of know why I said not to. Or, if you do manage to kill it, pat yourself on the back. Congratulations are in order. That totem probably has the highest kill count of any players of any thing in the game, I would say. If there's something else that actually kills more players, I would be very surprised. Maybe Gravathul. Actually, there's no way. There's a lot of people who never even see Gravathul because they stop playing before they get there. Yeah, it's got to be this totem. Which I haven't seen, actually. It may have popped up on the map while I wasn't looking. But, give me those bits. Also, the water is poison, unsurprisingly. I'm getting hit by it there. But again, I regenerate enough that it just kind of doesn't matter. I mean, it will kill me eventually, but it's fine. I will also note, since we're going for a regen setup, a belt like this with 200 health, you could argue it, but having a huge max health is not as important as having the regeneration at this point in the game. As long as you have more than about 100 hit points times your level, you're going to be fine. Being able to regenerate your entire health bar in, what are we looking at, 8 seconds, is kind of important. Alright, underground transit. This is the second, potentially third, depending on how you want to look at it, last area before the act boss. So we're getting close. There is, once again in here, a totem. I think maybe even 2 totems in here. And a devotion shrine in here. So if you can't go this way and through that tunnel, you'll have to go around and through the tunnel. You can also go this way and across, and you will find some hidden chambers in the storeroom, and you may find an exalted stash in there, which will give you a guaranteed blue item, which you can then turn around and sell. Or maybe you get lucky. Maybe you'll get a really nice two-handed blue weapon, like is it Falcon's Claw? Is the lightning axe? But you could potentially get something really nice. If you go this way, there's another hidden pile of loot over there. But if you can go this way, it's a little bit quicker. So I'm just going to sneak through here. There's my devotion shrine. That's pretty much where everybody is going. Doesn't really matter which way you end up going, you're heading here. So let's grab this. Picked up Anarchy. One-handed mace. No good. Resonant of Decay. Yeah, not really. Alright, everybody's leaving me alone. This is not really something you want to do either. If you're playing hardcore, probably don't spend your devotion points outside of town. I have lost characters doing that, and by characters I mean character. It can happen. Alright, welcome to the Aether Crystal Farms. This little section here of the underground transit has something like 15 Aether Crystals, and you want all of them. I'm going to max out Force Wave here, so we're up to 18.2 energy cost per second, but we are hitting like a truck now. You could sink some more points into Spirit if you want. I'm going to not do that. I'm just going to leave mine at 5. If you find yourself frequently running out of energy, then you may wish to get some more Spirit. We will have components to fix that in Act 2, though, if it's an issue for you. So I'll cover that, obviously, when I get there. And for now, this is kind of fine. Just use your energy potion on cooldown, and you won't have any issues. Being able to one-shot most enemies is pretty good. And then ragdolling them across the screen is... that never gets old. A lot of people will tell you Force Wave is boring. If you haven't played a Force Wave build, I strongly recommend it. Give it a shot. The people who tell you it's boring, most of them have played multiple soldiers. They know that Force Wave is the best way to level. They've played it so many times they don't want to see it again. That's fine. But don't just take their word for it that Force Wave is boring. Give it a shot. You may just find you like it. Definitely one of my favorite skills. And I have leveled many Force Wave characters. Of course, if you are one of the people who finds it boring, then that's fine. Don't play it. It's cool. Once again, nobody cares. Like, play what you find fun. Or at least nobody should care. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Alright, so I'm level 17. I'm definitely going to be level 18 before Krieg dies. That's kind of fine. You want to be probably around level 18 or 19 when you finish Act 1, so I'm right on track for that. If you're not, you may find it a little difficult to get the pistols straight away. The Viper Sandspitter pistols exist at level 20 and then again at level 40. So ideally, we want to find them around level 20. There's probably going to be a few levels in the 30-ish range where they just won't drop at all. So if you are too high level, there is a chance that they just don't exist for you when we get there. So around level 20, we're going to kill Warden Krieg and then head over and farm the pistols. Then we're going to not use them until we can dual wield them, which means killing Cromley. Alright, let's get through this a little bit. Running a little bit short on time, I guess. Actually, no, kind of on track. There's a few heroes through this section. If you find them, go ahead and kill them. You should have no trouble at all playing a Force Wave build. You're going to get through this section. All of the different pathways that may or may not be blocked off, they all come out kind of here-ish. So just head north. You'll get through here. It'll be fine. One-shot everything. Walk out of here like you're in the place. Because, to be fair, by the time we leave, we will own this place. Right, 3 more points. Could get some more regeneration, I guess. Though having said that, what have I got so far? I have got 201 a second regeneration. Is this a better weapon? Yes, it is. Okay, let's chuck that on. I'm going to keep this because I want my component back. Also, yes, I'm aware I'm being hit, and I just don't care. Is my health even moving? It is, but it's regenerating back to full before they do anything else. So, yeah, that's fine. We definitely could get some more more points in veterancy. Get more regeneration. Honestly, though, I think we can just get stats. Just pump the bar up. If we can get our hands on field command here, poison dude is actually hurting me. If we can get our hands on field command, which we will, that's going to be some offensive and defensive ability and also some extra armor, so it's all good stuff. There isn't a whole lot more to get at low levels. Generally, the passives you want to keep as 1-pointers, and your main attack you want to max out. Any kind of passives and auras and stuff like that, usually you're going to want to keep them as 1-pointers while you're leveling. There are, of course, exceptions. Alright, so we've got, what is it, 6 or 8 Aether crystals around here as well. Ectoplasms absolutely pick up. They are your one-stop energy solution. You can't get them in Act 1, but usually you're going to be waiting till Act 2. So Zanbrand here is Kaizog 2.0. And Force Wave doesn't care. He dies just the same. Alright, new armor. Nope, I think I already looked at that. The rest of the stuff looks fine. Okay, things you might want to change. If your Aether resistance is like 23% because your hat is all you have, maybe you want to look for something with a little bit more. Probably you're going to be fine. I'm going to say 20% plus 200 a second regeneration is enough that I'm happy to just stand in front of him and hold right click. I am going to check if I have any additional... I could swap in a ring, I guess. 9%, 10% extra regen. What does this do to my regeneration? Actually lose regeneration. How does that work? Energy regen. Oh, because there's a corpse dust on it. Okay, if I get another corpse dust, then I should be able to swap that. Corpse dust is also, I believe, for sale. So Luther Graves here and Carrick over there, you should be able to buy a corpse dust. In theory. Maybe not. Maybe he just doesn't have one. No, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to roll with it. 200 a second, 23% Aether resist. And I'm pretty sure I can just stand in front of him, hold right click, and he's going to die. Alright, so, first form Warden Krieg is ironically a little bit more dangerous than second form. Because Warden Krieg, the first form, will just run at you, you can't really dodge him super effectively. I am going to dodge him for a little bit. I'm going to take basically no damage. As long as you are running sideways, so he's running this way, you want to run sideways, he'll do basically no damage. Oh, no, he hit me. Whenever he charges at you, he will do that Aether Stomp next. And if you're at range, he's going to spit darts at you. He's going to shoot you with the Aether Wave. And then he's going to rush you. Take a swing when he gets there, which you can dodge. And he will do the Stomp next. So you can effectively dodge all of his attacks. As long as you stay at range, running sideways, don't even need to evade. He can't actually hurt you. So if you're fighting him, if you don't have the regen levels that I do, always remember, just run sideways and he can't actually hurt you. Alright, let's wait for the... Well, I wasn't hoping for that to happen. But it'll be fine. Okay, I'm a bit slow because I got hit by the bleeding darts. When you're in melee range, he actually won't shoot you with the bleeding darts. And so there's the stomp, half of my health bar's gone. There's the wave. He's got nothing left. Even if he did, I just hit the potion and it's fine. stunned, slowed. Doesn't matter, he's still dead. Alright, when you kill Warden Krieg, don't forget to not stand in the group here. This shield, if you're going to be using a shield, this one is pretty good in Act 1. If you're going to be doing pets, this is not a bad weapon. We are not doing those, so I'm going to be selling those. Actually, did I just put Veloth ring on? Okay, that's fine. So that is the end of Act 1. And we've been playing for an hour and 50. I've been waffling a fair bit. The pistol guy, this number here said 2 hours 27 or something like that. In fact, not something like that. It said exactly 2 hours 27 when I killed him with pistols. So this is a lot quicker. Granted, I spent a lot of time waffling with both of them, but it is what it is. Okay, when you kill Krieg, don't forget to pop his chest. You will get 1 tainted brain matter. Guaranteed. I'm not sure where I picked the second one up from. It may have been from killing Krieg, or it could have been from killing any of the ethereal heroes. Insight proc here is decent. When you attack things, you get 27% elemental damage, which is kind of whatever. But you get energy regeneration. And this is actually a decent amount of extra energy. If you get a couple items with this, you're set for energy. I'm not going to use it though. I've got this fortified doublé, which I don't actually care if that's not how you say it. I find it amusing, so we're going with it. And we're going to do some crafting now. So first thing to do, look at your scrap. Then go get the ones out of the bank that I put in the bank earlier. First thing to do is to repair this bridge. So let's dump all that in there, dump that in there, take this out. I'm going to make a relic, so that's why I'm keeping that one. You will have one of these, so you can come over here and craft Equilibrium. Equilibrium is basically some elemental resistance, move speed, and stuns and confuses things when they hit you. So your first relic, there you go. Mine has given me a completion bonus, which is like a crafting bonus, of a bunch of stats. So maybe you'll get something else. These starter ones, I think, generally are going to give you stat bonuses rather than skill points. Later ones will give you +1 to 2 different skills, depending on which ones they are. So I want that. And like I said, we're going to repair the bridge before we do any crafting. Although we are going into Forgotten Gods, so maybe this doesn't really matter, but I do this with most of my characters, so it's kind of habit at this point. 6 scrap, a few iron bits. I'm down to 18,000. So if you've got 4 scrap and 18,000 iron bits, you'll be able to do what I'm about to do. Also in Act 2, health regeneration does fall off. So don't stress too much about losing this corpse dust, because we are going to make 2 ward stones. We are going to make... actually, what is my resistance like? Yeah, we're going to make 2 silk swatches. So I'm going to make 1 silk swatch, actually. And I'm going to make scaled hide as well. And then I'm going to explain why you're going to have to choose which one of these you want 2 of. So scaled hide and silk swatch go in your chest, your shoulder, and your pants. And they kind of share those slots. Now, Act 2 has a lot of people with guns, and those guns are going to be doing piercing damage. If you're going into Act 2 and getting absolutely shredded, usually it's going to be because your piercing resistance is low. Now, I'm going to put that on my shoulder, and I have 45% piercing resist, which is kind of okay. 45 is a little low. I would say you want 50% or bigger, but it's probably going to be okay. It's up to you. If you think 45% is enough, craft yourself a second scaled hide and put it on your pants. If you are down around 30%, craft yourself a second silk swatch and put that on your pants. I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit. Also keeping in mind we are going into Act 7 first, so you can maybe get away with a little bit less piercing resistance. The other thing you can do is if you have money left over at the end of the little crafting session, you can ditch your regen gear and instead get a ring with 10, maybe 15% piercing resist, or perhaps your boots are really old or your gloves, you can get piercing resist from other places. Okay, so we want scavenge plating on the belt, we want a ward stone on your amulet, and also your metal. I'll have to take that, that corpse dust off, and then I'll put that on there. The other thing we want is an anti-venom salve. Do I have enough? Nope, I need some scrap. Okay, so I'm out of scrap. We'll go get some. Here is Luther Graves. He doesn't have any for sale. Here is Carrick. He also doesn't have any for sale. So we're going to reset their inventory. And the way you do that is you go through a rift gate to pretty much anywhere else. And then you just kind of hang out. Now, you can, you know, I've made the joke before, run around the rift circle 3 times anti-clockwise, 3 times clockwise, run through it south to north, run through it north to south. None of this actually matters. I'm just wasting about 10 seconds. Then we come back, we talk to Luther Graves, and he's got some new stuff to buy. So we can buy some scrap. And so does Carrick, so we can buy some scrap again. And now I want an anti-venom salve for my belt, because this is going to give me 24 armor and also 20 poison and acid resistance, which is going to be quite useful. Depending on how adventurous you're feeling and how low your poison and acid resistance is, you may want another one of these to put on your helmet. But this is probably fine. So we've got 2 corpse dusts. Oh, severed claw. So severed claw here. I'm going to be one of these short, but I'm going to take that off of this weapon. This will give you basically a better chipped claw. So 4 chipped claws makes a severed claw. Later on, we'll be using Oleron's blood in the guns, but for now, we will be using severed claw. So keep my belt, put the anti-venom salve on there, keep my metal, put the ward stone on there, keep my add-on to get my chipped claw back. Same deal here. That one actually probably wasn't worth it, because you can buy these for about the same cost. Probably actually better to just sell the item and buy another scavenge plating, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and click my way through here. Okay. I think he actually gives you scrap there. Okay, and that means I need, where are we? Severed claw. Boom. Can't use it till level 24. I actually had thought that was level 20. But anyway, we're going to use a couple of those at level 24 anyway, so nothing wasted. Just spent a little bit early. Can I get another anti-venom salve? I can. I'm going to get that and put it on my helmet. So resistance-wise, 80% is the cap, so we're very close on elemental. Kind of close on poison. Pierce, I would like to be a little bit higher. The rest of this is fine. So that is going to be the end of Act 1. That's all your crafting needs taken care of for the moment. We're still looking at 220 a second regeneration, which is quite nice. But that is going to be the end of this episode. Now, I don't normally shill for the channel, but if you've been watching along and you've got some value out of this, give us a like, give us a sub, all that usual YouTube cringy stuff. But that is going to be the end of the episode, so thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye for now.